After we've done all that technical work, then the question is, how do you make that work accessible to the actual policymakers, either the legislators themselves or especially to the legislative staff? And that's an equally fun part of my job. Probably half of what I do is the technical stuff, doing those cost-benefit models. The other half is spending an equal amount of time working on communicating the results to the policymakers, because it doesn't do any good just to produce a study if it's not going to be used. And so how do we really focus a lot of our effort on trying to make it useful. We meet frequently with legislators and with legislative staff throughout the session and non-session parts of the year, trying to let them know what the study is, how the study is progressing, what we're finding from the study, and learning from those meetings on what they need in order to move policy forward in the state of Washington. So you really have to approach this as a 50-50 proposition. You got to do the technical work, but then you've got to make probably an equal amount of time to make sure that it's understood. Working closely with staff, with legislators, keeping things relatively straightforward and simple. I try to, there's certain products, certain publications that have been successful in the United States, like Consumer Reports, for example. Consumer Reports, whether you look at it or not, everyone's pretty familiar with that if you want to figure out what kind of washing machine you're going to buy, you can kind of go there and you can get used to that little bubble chart. What we've been trying to do in Washington State is to have a similar kind of an approach, a Consumer Reports, if you will, version of what works and what doesn't work, with a similar kind of a graphical approach, so that legislators, if they're sitting on the Juvenile Justice Committee, they get used to seeing a report, fairly considered evidence, fairly calculated costs and benefits, and here's what it looks like. And then they go a few hours later and they're on the Education Committee, and there I am again with another Consumer Reports, now talking about what works to get better high school graduation rates. Done in a similar fashion, same kind of model, same kind of graphical image. So part of what we're trying to do is to build that platform, if you will, that publication look, that feel that we can think about in our common life as a consumers, trying to make sure that the information is presented to legislators in a similar way. So brevity is good, crispness is good, and clever presentations like those Consumer Reports list is also very important to try to make sure that the message is useful as possible to members of the legislature.